make it awkward.
Well, as you guys know, this is kind of our favorite segment. We're coming into the 300s, and we're going to talk about a lot of different topics.
About sex.
You know why? Because there's not many people that do. And those that do, probably are not talking about it in a healthy Christian relationship. So that's what we're talking about.
I have not taken my eyes off the camera.
I know, you can back up a little.
Oh,
That's
well.
all right. So happy
This
Monday.
is 301.
301. Okay.
We did
so,
3... How many fingers are in 3?
299 and a half.
300 last week.
300 and a half.
About being known.
I don't know. About being known and the importance of sex. And you know what? You can look up... I have like one little hair going weird. You can look up articles.
Yeah? What? Oh, did I interrupt you? You can look up articles online telling you about how great sex is.
Yeah, and the benefits, the physical benefits, stress reducer, blah, blah, blah. There are about 1,001 or tens of thousands of articles about why you should have sex.
Telling you why you should have sex. So
we're going to tell you.
Not to.
No. We're going to tell you why
you
shouldn't... What's the word I'm looking for?
Why to not to have sex. Why to
What is
have
the
sex?
ramifications of not having sex in a marriage?
The bad stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
The bad stuff.
What
because
happens?
most of us knows that there's a benefit to sex in general.
What happens when you two don't become one?
But you know what? Something I do want to just touch on briefly.
Just let me touch it.
That sex between a married couple is absolutely wonderful and loving, and you should be able to explore and have fun. It is not just for procreation or to consummate a marriage. That is our
If you
side
think
note.
that way, that is very boring.
Seriously,
This might not be the podcast
body
for
parts
you.
that do a lot more than procreate and just simply consummate a marriage.
My body part does way more than procreate.
So do mine. So it was meant for pleasure. It was meant for coming together. It
was meant for
a lot
fun.
of things, for fun.
But
so we're going to talk
between the
about
married
that.
people.
You're married people.
Not for non-married
If
people.
you're not married,
Put it
you
in your
probably
pants.
should not be having sex.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't. It doesn't work exactly the same.
You
I'm
tend
really
to make
sorry, that
worse
is our
decisions.
Opinion, but it's also God's.
It's not.
opinion.
It's actually proven that married people have more sex. They have better sex. They make better decisions. They do. Yeah. So be married and have sex.
Yes.
And if you're out of married, get married. It's okay. Get married.
Get married.
And it'll be a lifelong decision.
Yep.
Not one of these, I'm going to get married and see what it's like with Bruno Mars on the weekend. You know what I mean? I'm looking for something fun to do. Yeah, stupid. All right.
So anyway, we're going to talk
sing again.
about the ramifications of not having sex in a marriage.
All right, a sexless marriage
A
equals...
sexless marriage. A lot of different things. But it not only... I mean, obviously sex brings you together. So what happens if you're not having sex on a regular basis?
Then you're not coming together.
You're not coming together.
Either...
And coming together is really
Pun
fun.
intended!
Yeah! But it brings you... It separates you. It gets... The chasm between you gets further and further and further apart. You get more irritated with each other.
Especially if you have a high desire spouse.
Yes, you bite your head, each other's heads off. You just everything little nitpicks
Gets all
when
tense.
you get tense.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're even masturbating on the side. If you are not having sex with your spouse,
it doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't solve the problem. You know, that is
It
really...
pacifies the problem, but it doesn't solve it.
That's the thing. It coming together and it resets. Tim, we've talked about this for a long time, that it resets your marriage.
For 3 years.
Well, there's something to make-up sex.
Yes.
That, even if you've had a big fight, you may not be completely resolved, which you should still work on. But coming back together goes, you know what? Regardless of this argument,
we are still on the
same
team.
page. And the same
What did I say the other night? Fight and then you can figure out the rest of the sentence.
Fight or flight?
No.
What do you mean? What? Fight? Oh.
She got it! See, you didn't take that long.
Also, I really think I've heard the statement that the low desire spouse sets the frequency of sex in the marriage.
Which is wrong.
I don't agree with that.
The high desire spouse doesn't set it either.
Right.
Because if I did, we would be doing it right now.
And if it were me,
and 10 minutes from now,
every week, maybe every one, couple of
and 30 minutes from now.
Stop.
See, what?
And for people that have a low desire spouse that may never want to do it, the other person is never happy, never satisfied, never feels connected, and
you're making that person suffer.
And then resentment comes in, bitterness comes in. You get irritated with that person. They're wondering, why are you irritated? Well, I haven't connected with the person that I love, the only person in my world that can do this with me, for a month. For 6 months.
For 2 weeks.
Why do you think we're biting each other's head off?
Right.
We need to come together because only you and your spouse can share in this. This is the only thing the two of you can share together. You can't share this or obviously should not be sharing with anyone else.
Yes. No, not obviously not. Just don't share with anyone else.
It is a world
It
of
is
problems.
a bad problem.
So many issues.
Right.
That it's coming together, and it also prevents a lot of, I'm not going to say forever because this is not guaranteed, but it prevents affairs. Because if you're constantly serving each other in a sexual manner, as long as there is no sexual addiction issues going on, you've worked through other things, because Tim has said before, sex is a byproduct of intimacy.
Right.
But by handling those things and coming together, now I've satisfied his needs. That pretty girl walking down the street, doesn't really do it.
What pretty girl?
You know? Exactly. I'm not saying not having sex with your spouse is an excuse to cheat by any means.
No,
but
it's not at all.
Why would you give your spouse
The reason
any inkling of
the desire
to?
Yeah, maybe that's the right
I
word.
can't get sex from my spouse. I can't get it from anybody else. I'm miserable. My life is miserable. I'm resenting my spouse because of this.
Right, and then you send
All
them
of a
watch
sudden-
porn, and that goes into another cycle.
And then all of a
when
sudden,
it
the pretty
actually
girl
just
down the
becomes
street
okay.
or the good-looking guy at work that pays attention to you is now way more attractive. And then you're naturally... I don't want him to ever think that. I'm not saying I need to have sex with him every day to do that. But we're talking... But we're talking about serving each other and pleasing each other.
Right.
I may not be always in the mood, but I've told him I appreciate him being a high desire, and he doesn't get resentful, but he...
After the third day,
he encourages, like...
I'll be honest, I'm a jerk.
I'm missing you. Okay, you're right. You know, whether I'm in the mood or not, I love you. But think about it. There are so many other things you may do for your spouse. You may not like him. I make him beets. I don't like beets.
Hey,
but I'll make him beets one night.
Beets are heart healthy.
You know, I don't want to have to deal with beets.
I love
but
kimchi
I do.
too. She makes
how
kimchi.
many other things do you do for your spouse?
Right.
Just because you love them.
That just almost sounds horrible.
I don't mean it to sound like that. Because once I get in the mood, it benefits both of us.
Right.
You eating beets doesn't benefit me.
It can.
Me having sex with you benefits both of us.
It does. And so, and I don't want you to hear the whole...
I'm just doing it because he wants me to.
Yeah. I don't want you to hear the wifely or husbandly duty.
Right.
Duty. Ha! I said duty. But I do want you to hear that you need to have the conversation to find out something that works.
Yes.
And I would encourage you to do it at least once a week.
Yes.
And there's been, and we've talked about all of the studies shown, literally a level of happiness is raised in your household if you are just intimate once a week.
And we're not even talking about full-on intercourse, because sometimes being, it depends on what you can do. If you are loving and you feel connected, you're doing something with your spouse you're not doing with anyone else in a loving, physical way, that can count, as long as both of you have agreed on that.
Right. So then that's a conversation of what completion really means.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a conversation. If one's like, no, I really need to finish, and the other person's like, I just want to love and snuggle with you. And
okay, you snuggle with me while I finish.
There you
that's
go.
The compromise.
That's
the compromise.
And sometimes you get to maybe an age in your life or a state in your life, a health concern. We're just loving on each other and touching and caressing each other. Mm-hmm. That's a connection. That's intimacy. Yeah. That's a form of sex. Because you're not doing that with anybody else.
You shouldn't be.
Don't, like you just said. Stop it.
Oh, yeah. Shouldn't is the bad word. Knock it off.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That, there are so many ramifications for marriages that don't have sex. And eventually, it will probably lead to divorce.
Right.
Or you'll be miserable the rest of your life.
You'll choose to live miserably.
Or pornography will be brought in. There will be affairs.
And we don't want you to live that way.
This is the importance of sex in a marriage.
We want you to have a happy marriage.
Yes.
As I'm talking over the whole... Right.
Go on.
But that's...
I'll stop talking.
That's really the whole entire point. To give you a happy, healthy marriage that doesn't rely on any vices or anything else. It's just you two, the way it was designed. Mm-hmm. And you can have a lot of fun with just you two. There's a lot of fun things to do, and we're going to get in them in the next segments, and some of these are going to go private, and we'll just say, there's a private video, join our Facebook group, because we're going to actually talk about sex acts, and we don't need the general public to know about certain things.
Well, there's kids, and we're
trying to protect kids.
So if you are a kid watching this, get married before you have sex.
Exactly.
Don't have sex before marriage.
What's wrong with you? All right. Anyways, but that's the whole thing. Your sexual intimacy does rely on a conversation, and it does rely on compromise.
Yeah.
There are times when she wants it, and I'm not in the mood. She's like, "When is that? That happened like twice in 30 years." But
twice? Just kidding.
And that happens both ways, male or female. So if you have a higher desire spouse, wife, then husbands, you kind of have to get in the mood. And you have to have the conversation of how she can do that. Because unlike women, there is a thing that has to happen for it to happen. And so, how could you help me have it happen?
Oh, so we're going to have that conversation. But write that one down.
Oh, but
what determines actual time?
But I would say that, and women can get in the mood during the process. Men kind of have to be in the mood before the process. Physically, a thing happens. Someone needs to rise to the occasion. You're waiting. You're literally waiting for me to say it. And
if you're going to put this public, let's. And it's always on the podcast, right. So you guys can always.
But you kind of get the idea. Have the conversation of how much sex you really need and how much sex the other person needs, and then come up with a compromise which is acceptable to you.
Yes.
And then work that compromise. And then if it doesn't work, change the compromise. We always try to use a tool, and then the tool doesn't work right, so we throw the tool away instead of no wait. I just needed to use the back side of the hammer instead of the front of the hammer, and then everything's magical again.
What kind of tool are you talking about?
So this is a tool for you to use.
Metaphorical tool.
Don't bring a hammer in the bedroom. Wait, that could be fun. Anyways,
man comes to visit.
Role play 304. All right. All right.
Okay. We love you guys.
But you get the idea. Have a conversation about how much sex you need to have and how much sex your partner needs to have, and go from that point. And then compromise and work it out. Just talk about it. Try it. Try it for a month. Try it for 2. If it doesn't work, switch it up. Pretty simple.
All right. So if you have not done it already, follow us on our private. Tim and Tammy.
Follow our privates.
That sounded weird. Monday Marriage. Yeah. We always put the link in the video.
I always tag it.
We tag it. We also put it over there. We're going to be posting most of our 300 series over on our private groups.
And on Instagram, because kids don't be on Instagram.
Talk about it. To ask us questions.
TikTok.
Yeah. No, not TikTok. All right. We love you guys, and we will see you next Monday.
Toodle pick.